Yes, just because the lights. Here we go. We're live.
We're live. Hey guys, Dennis here. I'm here with John Schnepp, and we're rocking it duo style. We had to let Campia rest a little bit. He's been doing it all day.
John Campia is like a talking monster. He's been talking nonstop since 10 in the morning. So we need to give him a break. Let him sleep. I don't know if he's going to sleep, but he's rest his vocal cords. So you got us for the next hour, or two. We'll see. But hey, I wanted to wish a very special happy birthday to my friend Stephen Daly. He's an incredible artist and an incredible friend. And I want to say this to Stephen Daly. Happy birthday to you.
Get it duo style.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, my friend Stephen Daly at the DailyStephenArt.com, or it's the DailyStephen.com art, or it's the Art of Daily Steve. It's Stephen Daly. Just look it up on Google. He's an incredible artist. Happy birthday to you. So, and say hey to my girl Holly. She's got a wound that's mending, and toss it back over to my friend Dennis. What are we going to talk about for this hour, yo?
Well, let's remind people that why we're doing this marathon. We're doing it to raise money, yes, for the Philippines typhoon disaster. The link to donate is down below here. And we've already raised over $17,000.
Yeah,
thanks to you guys.
It's amazing. It's incredible. It's like a couple weeks ago, it was $3,000. We topped that. All of a sudden, it jumped to 6. Then today, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. It might even be 17.5 right now. If you're watching, please donate. Even the $10 is the minimum donation. So if you can donate that in the next hour, if you enjoy what we're talking about, please help. I mean, it's going to one of the best causes that I could think of, which is helping people who encountered a horrible typhoon that's wrecked a giant amount of the Philippines. They need help. So any bit will help them. So.
All right. I guess before we get to the other questions, I actually got a question on Twitter, which you can follow me at ThinkHero. What's your Twitter?
I'm John Schnepp, just at John Schnepp on Twitter. You should follow both me and Dennis, yes. ThinkHero and John Schnepp, and we will talk to you about crazy mad movie things.
Yes. Yeah. So I got a question from someone on Twitter, and they asked me where I went to film school and was it worth it? The first question is a lot easier. I went to UC Santa Barbara, got a film studies degree there. The second question is a little harder to answer. Was it worth it? I honestly, I can't say yes or no. It's not black and white because I learned a lot of stuff there, but at the same time, I didn't feel like I learned enough. Where when I came out to LA to work in the entertainment industry, that's when I actually learned the bulk of everything. You know, I learned a lot of film history and film theory in school, but not till I got out to LA and started actually working. Did I feel like, oh, so this is what it's like.
Right. I think a lot of people though, but I don't want to answer your second part as to why you liked it. But go ahead and why did you like? What was the positive benefits from school?
Well, I think. Just learning, they force you to learn a lot of film history and watch a lot of movies that you normally wouldn't watch and to dissect them and analyze them. They teach you about film theory and how to, deconstruct movies. And that kind of stuff I think is very helpful for later on. But in terms of production and post-production and all that stuff, they didn't really teach me that. Maybe because I went to a school that wasn't USC or UCLA or NYU or something like that.
But secondary, but first among the reasons why school is good, at least I'll fill it in, is like you meet a ton of amazing people who some of them become your lifelong friends. I don't want to speak for you if that did or didn't happen, but I'm sure you met a lot of people while you were in college that helped make you become the person that you are today.
Yes, they were not in the film study department.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. My main takeaway from college that I got from it was this social interaction with other people and learning how people work. It's you have to be patient with people. compromise a lot of different stuff. You see how some people work and some people don't. And
Sure. I mean, but also remember, college is that first time that most people are actually away from the family unit, and you are your own man and woman. You know, whether you're a man or a woman, you are your own person when you're at college, and that is liberating, and that is why it's the most amazing, fun experience. And anybody who is on the verge of thinking about going to college, and if you haven't, or if you've experienced college, maybe you agree with us. It's like I learned a lot when I went to the Art Institute, the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, and it's a fine art school. And I didn't actually get into doing film and video until towards the end of my junior year and all of my senior year. But I went there originally for painting and art. So it was like, for me, I ended up meeting up with a bunch of like really crazy and insane, super creative people. All of us were 18 and 19, who did totally insane things and had so much fun. A lot of our teachers were like, you might say drug-addled, but they were also incredibly smart. And, like you, we saw a lot of films and pushed our boundaries as far as like things that I had never seen, a bunch of these French films, these European films. It was great to experience that. But above and beyond, when I graduated, it didn't teach me how to make money or what to do, how to get a job. All those things I discovered by getting jobs and actually by the doing, not by someone talking to me about it. It's only by the action of doing. Then you learn. You're like, wow, I love doing this, or oh, I can't stand doing that. You get better at what you love doing, and that's, I think, the powerful thing about college. Is like it's a great place to learn certain things, learn skills and techniques, and like learn about history, and also meet all these like-minded people. So you're only going to get that when you go to a specific kind of college. So.
Yeah, I mean, in the terms of the people that I met, I love all the people that I met there, my experiences there. I do think career-wise, I probably would have better suited going to a school like you did, where it was specialized. Because at my school, the film studies department was not a big thing.
Right.
We didn't have our own building, we didn't have our own theater. I've gone to USC and UCLA to visit, and I've seen that they have dedicated film departments.
Sure.
So maybe other people's experiences differ from mine.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, I think everybody's college experiences are different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I said, I went to like an art school, so I didn't really even get into like doing things in cinema or film until like in my late 20s. I mean, I started with doing animation and like crazy bizarro stuff, and then worked backwards into like, I guess I'll work in television, movies, sure. And it's like so weird, but I wouldn't take it back. So
no, it's definitely a great experience. All right, let's move on to. The first question is...
Yeah, enough about us. Let's talk about superheroes.
James Cooper writes, I have two quick questions. What Batman would you like to see in the individual Batman films or maybe DC Universe? I would love to see the Riddler, Hugo Strange, and the Joker in the films. I think he was asking what Batman and villains.
Right.
My second question, what do you think about Alan Rickman or John Hurt as Alfred? Because both actors have a distinct accent that makes me melt when I hear it. I do love John's choice of Timothy Dalton as Alfred.
What was the name of the two actors again?
Alan Rickman and John Hurt.
John Hurt. You know what? I'd love to see Alan Rickman as a villain. Mm-hmm. I think Alan Rickman is an incredible actor, and he'd be underutilized as Alfred, I think, personally. Same with John Hurt. John Hurt's a little older now, so...
I think John Hurt would pull it off.
John Hurt could be Alfred, but, I mean... It's kind of one of those things where you're like, really? Like, it's a bummer to me. Like, Michael Caine is such an amazing actor. Make him a butler with 3 lines. Sometimes it's like, all right, I get it because he's older now. It's like, and he took the job and he did an amazing job. He was great as Alfred. But if you've seen his other films, like The Man Who Would Be King, and you've seen these other films that he's just incredible in, that's a weird one to pull out of my head, but that's the one that just popped up because that had an impact on me when I was
original
a kid.
Get Carter.
Yeah. I mean, he's an incredible actor.
You ever see him do an impression of himself? He did an impression of himself. If you go on YouTube and type in Michael Caine impression Michael Caine or something like that,
God.
he does a bad impression that other people do of him.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. Did you see? I'll have to get back to it because I can't remember what the series was called. It was the two guys on the
Steve
road.
Coogan.
Yes.
the Trip or Day
Yes.
Trip or something
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
I think it was just called The Trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. What and them both out trying to outdo each other doing Michael Caine.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I mean, it's so funny.
Yeah,
And
that was a pretty hilarious.
yeah. Now I would definitely want to see Michael Caine doing Michael Caine.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think John Hurt would probably fit better. Like you said, Alan Rickman is more of a villain.
I'd love to
type.
see Alan Rickman either play like the Scarecrow or the Riddler.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a great actor, and I mean,
Galaxy Quest.
yes. How many people here have seen Galaxy Quest? Shout it out on
Oh
the
yeah, I've seen it
panel
so
that
many
up.
times.
I know, and I never get tired of it.
No.
I see it, I think, once a year now. Like,
I think I watch it twice a year.
yeah, I just so fun. I wish they would. That's the one film that I wish they would make a sequel to. That
Yeah.
they're never going to do it.
Well, I don't understand because it made money.
Yeah.
It was popular.
Yeah,
It was well received by critics. It
Yep.
filled all the things that you would want
And
to
it's
make a sequel.
It's like a cult film now, where it's like everybody's always crying and whining about Ghostbusters 3, which I don't want to see. I'd much rather see Galaxy Quest 2. That's like, or Independence Day 2. Yeah, I get it. Those are Ghostbusters and Independence Day were giant blockbusters. They're also equally really old now, like 20 years old. Galaxy Quest is at least 10 years old, and the entire cast are still around. You could rock an amazing sequel. So
and Sam Rockwell.
yeah.
He at that time no one knew who
Yeah,
he was.
his original red shirt
Yeah.
or like purple shirt or whatever from the I mean, and Sam Rockwell was amazing in that film.
Justin
Everyone
Long,
did.
people didn't know who Justin Long was at that time, and
Yeah, it's ripe for a sequel. Justin Long might have a family now. It's time to save the universe again.
yeah. All right,
Fantastic.
let's move on to the next one. Waylon writes, "Hey, love the show. Is there any chance of a Forbidden Planet or Logan's Run remake?" Schnepp, you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. I mean, they had been talking about doing a Logan's Run remake for many years. Bryan Singer was in the mix to get that film going. He jumped over to doing Valkyrie, and there was a couple other films that he ended up doing instead of doing Logan's Run. The people who own the rights then pushed it off over to Ryan Gosling and Nicholas Winding Refn. And they were going to be doing it up until like about a year and a half ago, where Ryan Gosling dropped out, and then since he dropped out, the funding dropped out, and Nicholas went on to do some other films. So right now it's in some kind of limbo floating zone. So that's for Logan's Run. Forbidden Planet has been mentioned recently, like a year ago. I'm trying to remember who was up for doing the new directed version of that. But recently, if you check it out, Ralph McQuarrie, the amazing painter who painted a lot of the original Star Wars concept drawings, he also did a bunch of concept drawings for a revamp on Forbidden Planet that was being planned in the early 90s. So those are all available if you check it out online. Just do a search like Ralph McQuarrie Concept Designs Forbidden Planet, and you'll have a fun taste of checking out his Krell universe that he was redesigning. Nothing happened with it, but I'd love to see a Forbidden Planet remake. To be honest with you, I love the original film. It was made in the 50s. It's high time for a remake of that film, and it's we're not against remakes. I'm just against bad remakes. So
All right. Next question is from Chilo Lazoya. I just want to thank you very much for doing this fundraiser, or in my native tongue, Tagalog. I'm going to butcher this. Mariming salamat sa inyo. I don't know.
Here, let me say it. Dennis doesn't understand. Mangyelang fang saya.
I actually went out with a Filipino girl for over 7 years, but she didn't speak Tagalog. She spoke a different dialect, Kampampang, and I still didn't learn any of that. But that's my excuse for not knowing.
Hey, all right. I can't read it from over here.
Okay.
I can't read it. Otherwise, I'd read it
Yes.
perfectly. So
Love the show. You guys are awesome. My question is, what are your thoughts for a reboot of The Punisher? The first one with Thomas Jane I felt was entertaining. Then they came out with the second one, and I didn't even bother seeing it. He's talking about the Ray Stevenson one.
Warzone.
I would love to see a reboot. I love the character and the storyline. What are your thoughts and opinion on the subject?
Well, I don't know if you saw, but I guess 2 hours ago we did briefly touch on the Dolph Lundgren amazing classic, and then we
The one they couldn't even afford a skull T-shirt for.
I know, right? It was literally like a mesh shirt. There was like, is that supposed to be a skull? Oh wait, there's gunfire. Nothing happened. Punisher, Tom Jane had some fun moments, but personally, my favorite is the Ray Stevenson starring Punisher Warzone that you didn't see. I don't know why you're not seeing it. You should rent it now because it's a lot of fun. Are they going to do a new Punisher? I would suspect that they are. I would love to see the Punisher either in a television series on Netflix or in his own standalone new R-rated version. Make it just real gritty and like you do a low budget Punisher and do it right. I'm still hoping that Marvel and DC and Disney actually let these kind of like hard R movies come out. I don't know if that'll ever happen. But
I see it more likely happening to like doing a TV series on Netflix or something.
Yeah.
Like doing a hard R type of thing. Just because they I don't think they can recoup the money that they're going to spend and for it to be an R movie. I mean, it's just a fact.
Right. No, you're right. I mean, that's the day and age we live in now. So
it's PG-13 or less.
Yeah. So I'd much rather see Punisher done as a special series, albeit like Showtime, HBO, Netflix, you name it. Whoever's going to do it and do it right, But it's a character it's pretty untapped, I think they tried to do an origin story with Tom Jane. It just didn't work that well because it's like, it's such an extended origin story, at least for me. And some people argue that they liked the John Travolta character and the whole storyline. I didn't like that they spent so much time with Frank Castle's family. I mean, I think you could have gotten a lot of that done with flashbacks and still had an emotional connection with Frank Castle as a character who's had his entire life stripped away. It'd be great to see that, but not like in a direct narrative, just didn't have the impact for me.
I think also too, now that Disney has both Daredevil and Punisher back, I think those two characters have, a history together.
Sure.
And maybe crossing that over and maybe helping each other out.
Who's to say the Punisher isn't going to be in the Daredevil Netflix series?
Oh, that would be nice.
I mean, I didn't really think about it until right now, but it's like, wouldn't that make more sense?
And then spin it off if it becomes popular.
I mean, because they're talking about the characters that they sold to Netflix, but Netflix could also have gotten like, and we won't mention this, but we get these 6 characters or these 7 or 8 characters that come with Daredevil, like Kingpin or like some of these other characters. They didn't mention Kingpin, but you're assuming that Kingpin's going to be part of the Daredevil series. Why wouldn't maybe the connection of the Punisher be involved in that? Probably not because he's a branded character, but we're just guessing.
All right, so let's move on to the next one. Oh, this one. Christopher Mills, you wrote like kind of like a novel here.
Oh man! Here, can I read it in a very distinct English accent?
It would take a long time.
We've got an hour, dude.
I'm trying to see what he's trying to say.
Can you pull out one sentence out of? It's literally 30 sentences.
Yeah.
At least one really long run-on sentence.
They're talking about could they make a Constantine TV show in the movie continuity? I guess they want to know if they could make a Constantine TV show,
right,
that could coexist with the DC Dark Universe movie.
No, did we read that they are making a Constantine television series?
I don't know.
I thought that's something that we read somewhere.
Maybe, or at least rumored to be happening.
It was announced. Oh. But now I'm spacing out whether it was like the actual TV series or was it a new version of the Constantine movie. I thought it was a series.
Oh, I'm not too
Or am I
sure.
combining that with Preacher? Like they announced that they were going to do a Preacher miniseries.
I don't
Anyone
know.
who's watching this, please let us know. Just write it in. Yeah, you know what? I think if they were going to do a Constantine TV series, that would be fantastic. Whether or not tying that into the movie version of the Justice League Dark, or whether they're going to use that Swamp Thing issue, the Swamp Thing annual, where they had all the Dark Magicians, send Swamp Thing back to hell to reclaim Abigail, which is one of my favorite comic books ever, which if you've never seen it, check it out, Swamp Thing Annual. It's written by Alan Moore, drawn by John Tottleman, and it's got all of the dark characters, the Demon Etrigan, the Phantom Stranger, all these crazy characters, and they all kind of like pool together in this seance, which is freakish, and the stakes are so high. One of the characters burns to death. I won't tell you which one, but things happen, so it's not like everybody walks away until at least a year later they come back. But yeah, Constantine, Why not? You know, I don't think that he's going to tie in with a movie though. That's
No.
not the why not part. I'd say I'd love to see him in a television series. I don't think he's going to look like Sting, which is what he was originally supposed to look like. Or I don't think they're going to go along with the Keanu.
They're going to bring Keanu Reeves
No,
back.
Keanu's not going to be involved. But that would be my guess. But I don't think they're going to connect it in the cinematic movie universe as of yet. So.
All right. Demax writes, "Hey guys, love the show. My question is Lex Luthor in Man of Steel 2? If yes, do you think Bruce Wayne and Lex Luthor will fight together against Superman before Bruce finally realizes who the real enemy is? Or do you think Lex Luthor is in the movie but not as a bad guy in this early state of the DC universe?"
What do you think?
I don't know if it's confirmed that Lex Luthor is. I think people are just assuming so.
Right.
I assume that he is going to be in the, but I assume that it's going to be a small role, a cameo. They'll mention him, they'll talk about him. He'll probably show up for a little while, and it will probably relate with Bruce Wayne. And Bruce Wayne, just maybe they work together on. I think we had mentioned this on another show, helping rebuild Metropolis or something like that.
Well, it's funny. I remember, like, maybe on a show a couple weeks ago, somebody had mentioned, hey, didn't they already rebuild a lot of Metropolis when Clark is finally showing back up as Clark Kent working for the Daily Planet? Like, I think they'd already started the rebuilding process. But whatever the case may be, I actually think Lex Luthor is going to have a larger role in the Superman versus Batman or Man of Steel 2 or whatever it's going to eventually be called. But I think what the person who just wrote in said is it sounds great. That's a great idea. Is that at first Bruce Wayne doesn't think of Lex Luthor as a villain or as a bad guy. He's like kind of teaming up with this other multi-billionaire to help do some stuff. And maybe Superman is kind of a bad guy. He's this alien. Why should we let this alien from another planet like take over the world? And if we don't put him in check, he could actually just do whatever he wants, and we'd be a slave. So maybe that's kind of the angle that they're rolling with in the first hour is like why Batman would fight Superman is like, hey, as two very powerful multi-billionaires who probably have a lot of stakes in a lot of different areas of different corporations and not just Metropolis but all over the world. You could see how Lex Luthor might manipulate Bruce Wayne or try to, and then they end up fighting, and then maybe Superman or Kal-El is able to show him like, no, this guy's this guy's a bad guy or whatever. It's like something happens where it turns, and maybe like they're like secretly mining the Amazonian jungle, and there's we've awoken these crazy women who are all attacking us. They're Amazons. I don't know how they're going to fit in Wonder Woman.
I want to see this conversation between Clark and Kal-El and Bruce Wayne. No, I swear, man, he's such a douchebag. He's such a douchebag. He's a bad guy.
Right. I don't really see that Kal-El or Clark or whatever you are calling yourself, alien scum. He's been my friend for the last 15 years. He supported me when I needed to. Whatever. It's like, and then they're gonna have a big beef, I'm sure, and then I don't know. I think Lex Luthor's gonna have a pretty large part in it. I don't really see them pulling out a Brainiac or some like super alien character. Remember, you only have even if it's 2.5 hours. That's not enough time to like introduce Batman and Bruce Wayne and Lex Luthor and set all this story up where you actually have Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent, Batman and Superman fight each other. Then there's a little flip reveal and Lex Luthor's the scumbag. How are we going to take him down? Maybe Lex Luthor is also teamed up with some other characters like Metallo. Maybe Metallo builds the suit with Batman, the kryptonite. There's all different ways that you can like include all these different characters in there. Obviously, we know that they're going to include Wonder Woman now, so we have to put that.
That's a given. Yeah,
that's a given. So we have to put that into the mix, and like, how many other characters are going to jump in there? Is The Rock going to play Green Lantern? I mean, it was like none of us even mentioned that, and then someone wrote in like on Twitter. Someone wrote us and was like, "Hey, is maybe The Rock's going to play Green Lantern?" It's like, it's not a bad idea. And boy, what if that's the case? If he's going to play Jon Stewart, that's a totally different spin on it. I don't know if that's true or not, but
what's nice though about this whole Man of Steel 2 with Batman versus Superman is we don't really need to see an origin story for Batman, even though it's a different universe and it's a different actor and it's a different take. They're not going to have to go through it. They're just going to show Batman. They said he's going to be a veteran, a
Right.
grizzled veteran.
Yeah.
So that means that he's already been doing it. We'll skip over that. We know who he is.
Yeah, and I think Kevin Smith had a great point. Like, who was Clark Kent dressing up as in those flashback scenes when he was in Kansas and putting his hands up with a cape? Well, he's mimicking Batman because Superman didn't exist yet. No other superheroes were around except for Batman. So that makes a lot of sense. And Kevin Smith, that Kevin Smith, I need you to contact me so I can interview you about Superman Lives. Help me out with the Twitter. Everybody talk to Kevin Smith. Tell him I need to interview him. But yeah, he had a great point as far as like, that makes sense to me. Is like, yeah, why was he putting on the cape before he ever even saw his own outfit from, when his dad reveals it to him inside that spaceship? You're like, oh, he was mimicking Batman. It makes perfect sense. So Batman's been around, and I love what Campea said earlier, which was like, when we finally see the Batcave and Ben Affleck in the Batcave, I was like talking about the weirder stuff like the giant penny and the dinosaur and all this other stuff. But Campea was like, hey, what if in the far background we saw that little glass case with the Robin suit in it? You never say anything. You just show that as a walk by, or it's in the background. That's revealing so much history without ever having to go into it. You can explore that in the actual new Batman trilogy. I think that's great, and I hope
fans would go nuts.
Yeah, I think that's like a little Easter egg. It's an explosive Easter egg. That's like, man, ooh, that smelled. That's an atomic bomb Easter egg.
And I think John would love it if, like, all of a sudden Joseph Gordon-Levitt pops out and goes, "I'm Robin."
Ooh, the sound of millions of voices screaming out in the darkness. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next question here. Jonathan Niemela. Hey, John, I have a question. In the Amazing Spider-Man movies, do you think we see Madam Web in series with the Beyonder? They have all the Spider-Man across the dimensions, time, space. This is a little hard for me to read. Have Ben Reilly, others, plus you could Tobey Maguire and whole cast, Mark Webb and Sam Raimi, and maybe Miles Morales in there to have Sinister 12. Be bad guys with Green Goblin. Have a time dimension device like the 90s cartoon. If you do, Stan Lee wife has played
This week on How to Not Write a Sentence.
Yeah, this is...
Here, I'm just going to run on and type really quick of all the things that I'm thinking of and not actually make any sense of it. You come up with stuff.
So, has played Madam Web this...
You're not going to get your questions answered correctly if you don't actually form a complete sentence, because it's hard for us to figure out what, and I'm being serious, it's hard for us to figure out what it is you want us to tell you about the Sinister 12 if you just type really quickly, have Sinister 12 and Morales in, what about Black Cat, Green Goblin, what? Exclamation mark, strange backward symbol, flying super creature. Is cat involved? Which cat? Are you talking about Black Cat? I don't know. Just write a fully formed sentence, and then when we read it, it'll be like, oh my God, we totally understand what you're talking about because you took the extra 6 seconds to type those necessary other words. So just try it out. I'll stop being a jerk about it. So
I will try and guess. Basically, I'm thinking that he wants like all these Spider-Mans to like come together in one movie, and so that you can have the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man maybe, and the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, and then Ben Reilly and a Miles Morales.
Is he asking if that will ever happen, or if he's going to get back on his meds so that he can write a better, insane question?
I don't know.
I don't get it. Hey, read it really fast. See how fast you can read it.
No.
All right.
No, I can't.
But is that what he's asking, to get all of them in one movie?
I think so, and just have like look. My answer to that is it's too much. Even if you could do that, you wouldn't want to, because you're just going to convolute everything. You don't need to make it that complicated. You don't want fans to just get confused by what they're watching. Like, why is this Spider-Man here? Why is Tobey Maguire here? Why is this other guy who's Peter Parker's clone that looks just like him here too? It's just too confusing.
But I get it. Like, this is one of those questions that I don't think you really think would ever happen. It's more like, wouldn't it be cool if like someone made a super edit, like a trailer with all these different scenes from like, here's the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, then weird wormhole. Here's the, the Garfield Spider-Man, then Strange Absorbo Wormhole, then cutaway Iron Man, and all three versions of the Hulk all in one film. Like, what? Yeah, it's the Mark Ruffalo Hulk running towards the Edward Norton Hulk. I mean, you can cross-cut.
And then Eric Bana comes
Yeah,
up.
Eric Bana just starts crying like the baby, like soft Hulk, like slab-like Hulk versus extra muscular Hulk versus like gorilla beast Hulk. So you have all three of those films. Call it three Hulks. And then just throw Spider-Man in there for no reason with a weird wormhole. Then cut away to Batman, like sitting on the toilet, like a really extended, like, what is this? We're throwing some DC and Marvel at you at the same time, man. It's called Wormhole, son.
All right. I just want to mention, I think CJ Rocky said we had missed his question from earlier.
CJ Rocky in the house.
You can tweet me at ThinkHero a short question. If you can condense down what your question was, I will read it. And the CJ Rocky on let me know. All right, here we go. Robert Granger writes, a question or request I have been having for a few months is regarding Superman. I'm a big Superman fan. Love visiting your booth, Schnepp, at Kamikaze.
Oh, right on. Thank you.
Even though you were off wandering around at the time, but your people there were really awesome. And like you, John Campea, I love Man of Steel. However, my question is in regards to Superman Returns. You always remark how you don't feel as negative about it as everyone else. In a similar light, although it was disappointing to me, I felt it has redeeming qualities. With that said, would you mind briefly sharing your thoughts on the film? What worked for you? What didn't? Thanks for your time. Love what you guys are doing. I think he was asking John. He's not here right now, but I guess we can answer it as well. Did you find any redeeming qualities about Superman Returns? And what were they?
Oh, Superman Returns.
Not Man of Steel.
The Bryan Singer version?
Yeah.
I did. I mean, I thought that the Bryan Singer version of Superman, in its attempt to revitalize the brand and bringing in the Richard Donner, the first two films, even though Richard Donner didn't get credit for directing the second movie, he directed like 80% of it or something. I thought the intentions were all there. It was the right intentions to like, look, you know, the other two movies weren't as good as the first two movies. I would love to like take another crack at the original Superman icon from the 70s and early 80s that all of us enjoyed. Bring that John Williams movie back in. Just say he was gone for a little while. Now he's back. So it's like literally really the return of Superman. I thought all the intentions were good. I just thought ultimately the final execution of it, though the sets were beautiful, the lighting was great. The costume design was fantastic. You know, it definitely did have that flavor of a Richard Donner take. Like it had the crystalline fortress. It had all this amazing art direction. It had that Art Deco flavor. I mean, ultimately, it was just kind of misguided in that, you know, the idea of what Superman is and what he means to us. Originally, I think their intention was good. It just drifted. Mm-hmm. And so by the time the final script was completed, I think they all thought it was a good idea to have Lex Luthor want to make land again, you know, buy land and create land and use that subplot, the plot from Superman, the movie that kept continuing forward through all of Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor, you know, visits in the films. Like, you know, I'm a land freak and I'm going to get land and that's how we're going to make money. It just didn't really kind of make sense in the end run. As far as having Lex Luthor make this kryptonite landmass. There's, people are going to build this. Really? People are going to go live in this dirty slush from Krypton.
It's all rocky.
Yeah, it was dirty. It looked like slush. After it snows, like all you guys in California, East Coasters are going to know what I'm talking about. Oh, that fresh snow. It's like Christmas snow. It's beautiful. And then one day later, it's dirty, brown, gray slush that you slip on and fall in. And it's horrible and it looks gross. That's what the new Krypton looked like. So I never really understood, like, people are going to buy this land, see? You know?
I got to slide in with you guys.
All right.
He's back.
You going to grab that one?
So, yeah, I never really had, like, a beef with, you know, a lot of the art direction. It was just, honestly, for me, it was, after all those years of Superman being missing, so to speak, and then his return was honestly the execution of the film. It just was lackluster. So it had this, like, even though they were trying to get this nostalgic feel, which they did get, it also had a sleep-inducing feel, which made me tired, and I passed out twice in the theater after waiting years to see this new version of Superman. So to me, and that's just my opinion, other people, I've argued with other friends of mine who loved Superman Returns, and believe me, they were right in their own opinion. Just to me, it was like, I just really was not my cup of tea. So, the things that I wanted to see, at least personally, happen really did come through in Man of Steel. And it was just kind of the right take, at least in my perspective. Albeit, I would argue like having Superman kill Zod, whether or not that's the right thing that should have happened, it did happen in this new version of Superman, and Superman's going to have to pay the price for that, a heavy price, I'm sure, on his conscience, having killed the last Kryptonian himself. That's some heavy stuff to have to deal with. And then having Batman come after him. So, and Lex Luthor, whoever else they're going to chuck at him, he's going to be weighing in on quite a painful past history of his own. So, yeah, Superman Returns, it's not like a complete failure, at least in my own eyes. It was like a lot of scenes are great to watch. And it was kind of fun, actually, if you watch them in little segments. Like YouTube has a lot of clips from Superman Returns, and I revisited them recently because I'm working on this Superman documentary. So I'm looking at all these different iterations of Superman. And there's some really amazing sequences where Superman is like they threw everything at him. Like, oh, the gas lines are going off and the Daily Planet Globe is falling. And so he's basically doing all these heroic acts, one after the other. It's just ultimately like the plot line of him having a son, the plot line of him leaving and having this extra young Pulitzer Prize winning Lois Lane. None of that stuff made sense. Just a lot of stuff that just didn't work. And then it's like Superman was a little creepy at the end, like kind of floating outside of his own house, or Lois Lane's house, like kind of spying on his own child. A lot of disconnection. Is like, I get it that they were trying to say like Superman can't have a family. He's got the world to deal with, and that's his family. He's the savior of the entire world. I just don't think it was executed the right way. So ultimately, that's just my opinion. So I mean, but that the positive things about Superman, I think, are the beautiful cinematography, the art direction, certain key scenes, the casting of Lex Luthor. Kevin Spacey was a great Lex Luthor, and that was a holdover from Superman Lives. He was contacted to be Lex Luthor, and that just stuck around. Like, why don't you get Spacey? He's bald. I think it was like that whole bald thing.
I honestly, I didn't. I didn't care for Kevin Spacey's Lex Luthor. Yeah, it might not have been Kevin Spacey because he's a really good actor, as we can see in House of Cards and other stuff he's done. I just didn't like that Lex Luthor. I mean, what was his like whole shtick was like, I marry really old rich ladies, and then like they die and they sign their money over to me, and that was like his thing. And I was like, come on, that's not Lex Luthor.
Right, he's a criminal mastermind. That's kind of
like. Not a lot of people could do that if they really want to, I was thinking he would be much more, a cutthroat businessman or something like that. And so I didn't really care for that Lex Luthor. And yeah, there was other issues with the movie. I thought it wasn't like a terrible movie, but it was okay. John, what do you think of Superman Returns? What are some redeeming qualities about Superman Returns?
I thought Superman Returns was a very good movie. But, and this is always the big asterisk that I've always put beside it, Superman Returns was a terrible comic book movie. Superman Returns was Bryan Singer's attempt to do a human drama story of a God-man who doesn't understand his place in the world. And it's complicated by the idea of relationships. I mean, he can destroy planets, but he can't, interact with the girl he loves. He can turn time backwards, but he just found out he had a son. And I really appreciate what Bryan Singer was going for in doing that. And I think in doing it, he made a really nice movie on that level. But as a comic book movie, it was terrible because, I mean, basically you could have called the movie Superman Lifts Stuff, the movie. He has watch as Superman lifts a plane. Now watch as Superman lifts a mountain made of kryptonite. Don't even get me going how that made any sense.
Yeah. But in between those two things, watch him lift a car, lift the Daily Planet sign, Yeah, he lifted quite a lot of things.
And I'm sorry, but it is Superman. You have to be able to. You got to forgive audiences going in expecting a comic book movie, and big respect to Bryan Singer for what he was going for, and I think he achieved what he was going for. But in achieving what he was going for, he left a lot of people dissatisfied, and understandably so. And the whole thing about making Kal-El an absentee father who's behind on his child support payments, that was a big mistake. The whole son thing was a big mistake. The casting of Lois Lane was a tragic mistake because she looks like she was 17. Like, if Superman had hooked up with her prior to him leaving 3 or 5 years ago, he should be in prison for statutory rape. That's what it looks like. And so there were those mistakes that you just can't overcome.
You know what's interesting though? Like recently, I was reading about the writing of the Superman Returns screenplay, and actually that whole son element was foisted upon them later in the process of the screenwriting. It's not actually Doherty or Singer. At least this one article that I was reading. So, I mean, I'd love to. It's fun to find out more and more about the creation process of a lot of these films. While they're being made, after they're made, what the decisions were, why did they want to add a Superboy only so that, you know what, that didn't work, just kill him in the next movie. You're like, what, So, I mean, hopefully, I think they were hoping that, this child would turn into Superboy,
Or they obviously had a plan of some sort, but maybe he was going to be a marketable toy. Maybe John Peters got his hands on it. Who knows? Lots of things. But like I said, I think it was a really, really good movie that made some tragic mistakes that left it as a very bad comic book movie. And it can overcome those mistakes and made a lot of what you mentioned already.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
This is a Salvador Navarrete asks, why do they not make a tribute movie to Dwayne McDuffie?
He's talking about the writer who wrote a lot of Superman animated movies over at Warner Brothers, and he's also just a very great comic book writer in his own right. Why don't they make a tribute movie to him?
Yeah, I mean, I read here that they gave a dedication to him in Justice League Doom. They dedicated the film to him.
That's a really big thing, and honestly, I mean, unfortunately, the truth is a lot of comic book writers and artists die every year. Carmen Infantino died as well this 2013, or was it 2012? I'm sorry if I can't remember right directly, but it was within the last year and a half. Incredible artist, ran DC Comics as editor-in-chief, and basically drew the showcase version of The Flash that you all know and love, drew Batman in the 60s. I mean, artists and writers, they just like us, we're all going to die, guys. I don't want to get too dark. But, yeah, I mean, Dwayne McDuffie dying is a horrible thing. And, I think he was given quite a lot of tributes to his career. So, I mean, somebody making a film about him, maybe someone will. Or, it's a good idea. But what?
That is our friend Soul. Soul is here. He decided to drop by.
Soul?
His real name's Johnny Green. He's we call him Soul. He works with the Fine Brothers.
Okay.
You know the Fine Brothers.
Sure.
Very popular on YouTube. So he decided to drop by and.
Yeah, he's the executive producer and chief financial officer for the Fine Brothers.
Awesome.
Who just won an Emmy last year for their catch. And he comes charging in like Kramer.
So what?
Soul Video is here.
I bring you.
Wait, stick your head in.
Food.
And of course he brought Buffalo Wild Wings.
No one can see your face.
You got to duck in here.
There you go.
There he is.
You guys. Yeah, that's a Triple John action happening here. For those,
Get the F out.
you want to sit in for a bit in a minute, or all right, I'll swap out in a bit and let you take the chair. And he actually brought Buffalo Wild Wings.
How's that Anderson Silva leg happening?
Are you guys talking about the jelly leg?
Yes.
Jelly leg.
Oh, man.
I like Dennis's Twitter pic.
Oh, yeah. I had two.
Oh, that Toy Story picture
I had
with the leg.
200 retweets. That was the most retweets I've ever had. And it was over that picture.
Hey, listen, before we go into the show, we just want to remind you guys about why we are doing this. We are doing this 24-hour marathon, which we now have about 10 hours left in. We've been going for about 12, 13, 14 hours. We are raising money for the Philippines, who were hit with the just devastating typhoon, the worst in recorded history, that left a lot of people without homes, without water, without food, and you guys are making a difference. Look at this link here, www.crowdrise.com/AMC Movie News Philippines. Also, look in the description of this video, and you'll see a link that you can just click if you don't want to type that into your browser. Go there, click on the big red Donate Now button, and donate $10, $50, whatever you can. It makes a difference, and it's changing some people's lives for the better. We set a goal of $3,000. We have already reached $17,867. We are $133 away from $18,000.
Let's do it.
I cannot believe how much money you guys have donated, but please give, jump on down. If you're enjoying our marathon, if you're liking the movie chat, if you're being entertained at all, please jump on in and give and help some people out. All the money goes directly to the Red Cross typhoon relief efforts. You are making a difference, so please go on in there and make a donation.
If 10 of you guys can all jump on right now and pop in $100, bam! What does that make us? Closer to 19,000.
Woohoo!
It'd be incredible.
All right.
One person donated $15,000.
We would be
double our drive.
That's right. Almost more than double.
April McDonald writes, love the show, and this is an awesome thing you are doing. My question is, what standalone movie would you like to see a sequel to? I would have to say, we mentioned this before, Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, we were just talking about Galaxy Quest 2.
Galaxy Quest would be a great sequel.
Love to see that. It's only 10, even less than 10 years old, and everybody in it's still alive. It would be a fantastic sequel. You know,
Any other movies? Standalone movies?
Two come to mind. One would never happen and probably never should, but is Megaforce. I mention Megaforce all the time. But the other one that I really wish they would do a sequel to, I've wanted this for 10 years, Mystery Men. I want a Mystery Men sequel. I want to see Mr. Furious and the Shoveler and the Blue Raja and the Bowler and, the Sphincter and all these. I want to see them all back. They're all still around. They're all still kicking. They can still do this movie. I want to see it again. I love Mystery Men. It was one of my most underrated comedies of all time. Love that. I would love to see a sequel to it.
It should be called Whatever Happened to the Mystery Men.
The Mystery Men.
I would say I'd like to see... and this should be made immediately, a direct sequel to The Paperboy, which was this Lee Daniels film that I just happened to watch with Holly last night, and it blew me away at how freakish it was. And I'm just kidding right now. I don't want to see a sequel to that. I do want to see a sequel to Battle Beyond the Stars. And I'm not kidding about that.
Space Cowboy.
Yes. It would be just a new version of a new battle with John Boy Walton's son having to gather a brand new crew to save the galaxy once again.
I love it.
It's a Seven Samurai. It was just simply a remake. John Sayles wrote the screenplay. Lots of fun. James Cameron built some of the spaceships. If you've never heard of it, it's called Battle Beyond the Stars.
And it has Hannibal from A-Team.
Yeah. He loves it when a plan comes together, especially when he's in a spaceship. And Sybil Danning is in it as well.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
As the Valkyrie. So look
but,
it up.
But I wasn't kidding, by the way. Hannibal from A-Team.
George Papard.
Papard. His character's name is Space Cowboy.
He's not kidding.
It really is.
Space. Look at the credits. Look it up. Yeah, what's his real name? Space Cowboy. I honestly can't remember what John Boy Walton's name was. Even his real acting name, I can't remember. Do you remember?
No, I don't.
Walton?
I do
Richard,
not recall.
Something Richard. Help me out, guys. Anybody who knows, it'll show up. What was John Boy Walton's name in the actual actor? Somebody type it in.
What's the name of the film again?
It's Battle Beyond the Stars. So anyway, I'd like to see a sequel to that. Boy, speaking about sequels, I don't know. I would love to see a direct sequel to the 1980 Flash Gordon. Not a remake, but a direct sequel with Max von Sydow playing Ming and bringing Sam Jones back as Flash Gordon and just make it like, look, man, 30 years ago, you took me down. That ring still has Ming in it. He comes back. Bam, 2015. It's Earth now.
I still trip out that George Papard was in Breakfast at Tiffany's. And he's
Hannibal
in 18.
Yeah.
That's just,
And he was Space Cowboy in Battle Beyond the Stars.
There you go. Movie we had mentioned before, Rundown. I would like to see a sequel to Rundown. I think if Peter Berg and The Rock got back together,
That'd be pretty
cool.
cool.
I
Could
think
be
they make a
interesting.
cool action sequel to that.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right. We have Kevin Wright. Hey guys, keep up the good work on this great cause for the people of the Philippines. My question is, why hasn't there been a bigger push for a Martian Manhunter film or a bigger part in the DC cinematic universe? I think he is DC's most underappreciated and probably one of the most powerful heroes with a great cinematic background that you can work with and make an excellent film. Do you think moving forward he could be used in a bigger role? Personally, I would rather see him on the big screen than Aquaman.
John Carter of Mars. I'm sorry, like Mars is kind of a dead zone right now, so I don't think they're going to call it Martian Manhunter if he was ever going to even get his own film.
They'll probably just call it The Manhunter or something like that. But here's the problem. I bring this up all the time. I can go to my sister and say, Superman. Oh, she knows who that is. I can say Batman. She knows who that is. I can say Wonder Woman. She knows who that is. I can say Green Arrow. She knows who that is. I can say Green Lantern, blah, blah, blah. If I say Martian Manhunter, she'll have a glossy look on her face. She'll have no idea what I'm talking about.
Your sister would even know who Aquaman is.
Yep, she would know who Aquaman is.
From the Super Friends, he talks to fish. That's right. Martian Manhunter.
But you say Martian Manhunter and even describe the character to her, and she'll have a glossy look and say, okay.
Probably show a picture of him. And she'll be like, who is that?
Yeah, who is, and also, what is that?
Yeah. Right, what's wrong with his face? Is he the Hulk?
And you even explain it. Like,
why is the Hulk smaller?
He's this alien from Mars whose race was enslaved and driven to extinction, and he escaped to Earth.
What's his name? Johns, with weird apostrophes.
And he's vulnerable to fire. And you explain this to her, and she will look at you, and as will most people who are non-comic book fans, which is 99.99% of the rest of the population, and will have no idea what you're talking about and wouldn't be interested. Now, that's not to say
you're crazy because you're interested.
Exactly.
In it. What's wrong with you? Why do you want a Martian Man?
You never got laid in high school, did you, big brother? Here's the thing. It's a hard sell. Us who are comic book fans, we know how cool Martian Manhunter is, but he's a hard sell on the non-inducted comic book world people. And that which represents, like I said, 99% of the movie-going audience. He's a tough sell for people who don't understand him. And we, as comic book fans, look, here's the thing. Comic book fans are often guilty of this, that they just assume non-comic book fans should get it. We just assume, well, if you got it, if you understood this guy, you'd know how cool he is. Okay, you know what? It's not their responsibility to get it. It's our responsibility. It's the character's responsibility to be appealing to them. Yep. And I just don't know that Martian Manhunter is.
And it's not like you're like, hey, why don't you read these 30 years of comic books to understand how awesome this character is? Right. The regular fans or the regular movie going on is not going to do that. They're like, no, we watched the trailer. If it looks cool, we'll go see it.
Well, I think the best way to introduce your favorite character...
He's taking the wings.
He's like, screw you guys. I'm taking them back.
I think the best way to introduce Martian Manhunter is in the Justice League movie. I think that's...
If you're going to do it, that's the only way you can do it.
Because you already have one guy, and he's from another planet. His name's Superman. He's from the planet Krypton. It makes a little bit more sense to be like, oh, we found this other guy. He's from Mars. Which we are like, well, it's a dead planet, well, technically it had water. Now we have, if you mix a little science in there, this was from thousands of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago. Yeah. There you go. You can explain it in some way, shape, or form.
But I would argue that it's harder for DC to introduce a character like that than someone like Marvel. I mean, Marvel, you have Guardians of the Galaxy coming. Right. You've got Rocket Raccoon. Right. I mean, come on. Right. They have that. Marvel, I think people are more accepting, because of the universe.
A talking tree. Yeah, you got it.
But,
it's already happening.
But in DC, it's very serious, very realistic. Then you got this guy, popping up. People are going to be like, what the hell?
Well, he makes sense if you introduce him the right way. He's a shapeshifter, and he could take other people's forms, so that could be a way he, slowly manipulates the Justice League to form by, in one scene he's Bruce Wayne, in another scene he's Clark Kent, and another,
I know I've been referencing the Justice League, or the Injustice Gods Among Us comic book series a lot lately, but man, how Martian Manhunter dies in that comic book series is awesome.
Really?
Oh yeah, Superman kills him by basically burning him alive.
Ooh.
Oh, it's gruesome. Damn. Very, very gruesome. Anyway, all right, let's move on.
So here we go.
I think you just bummed that guy out who loved Martian Manhunter, and then he dies at the end.
Jonathan.
Wait a second. What's that one question that looks like it's a novel?
Yeah, it's another one.
Is that where you're at?
Yeah.
Bypass it. Who is it?
Jonathan Chester. Thank you for your donation.
Yeah, Jonathan, thank you so much for your donation, dude. And thanks for sending in a question. But you've written us a small novel, and we just, it would take us 5 minutes to read it. We just don't have the time. So again, thank you so much for your donation. Really appreciate it. But we've got other questions we got to get to. It's just too long.
Just
dude.
try to get 2 sentences in and just like write those sentences
Coherently.
coherently. And I'm not.
Imagine you're writing a tweet.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be a jerk. It's just we have to.
It was literally
these.
about 12, 13, 14 lines.
Yeah.
We don't have time. Sorry about that, dude.
All right, Terrence Cole. Great thing you guys are doing. Love the show. Speaking of The Rock's DC meeting, what do you think he could end up playing? We kind of covered that before.
Yeah,
Lobo.
sure.
Yeah.
Lobo, Black Adam.
Someone had written in, tweeted us like, "What about Green Lantern? What if The Rock is going to be the new Green Lantern?"
I don't see him as a Green Lantern type, either as a re-raced Hal Jordan or as a Jonathan Stewart. I don't see it as never know though.
No, I know, that's what I mean.
Never know. I give it a shot.
We didn't mention that one possibility. Whether that's going to happen, probably not. But
all right, what's next?
All right, we have Nick Vernon, and he writes, "Thank you guys for what you guys doing. You guys are great. My question is, do you think Prisoners will have any Oscar chances? Thank you. May the force be with you." I really like Prisoners. I don't think it has any chance at the Oscars. Maybe for cinematography or something like that.
Cinematography was
because
beautiful.
Roger Deakins had done it.
He did it.
So maybe that. But I thought the performances are great. It's just this year is so stacked.
Super stacked.
That maybe in another year Prisoners would have got nominated for a bunch of stuff. But I think this year is just there's so many good things.
You'll hear Prisoners mentioned at the Oscars in some categories here and there, but it won't be for Best Picture. It won't be for Best Director. It won't be for Best Lead Actor. It won't be for a lot of the higher, sexier, more marquee awards. Right. But it is a worthy, great movie. This just won't be its year for Oscar stuff.
I agree. I think it's going to get passed over, even though everyone in it was top notch.
Absolutely,
Dano
absolutely.
as the creep. I mean, every single person really nailed their role. I had mentioned before Melissa
Leo. Yeah, you weren't so big.
Just the ending with her getting all batty at the end. It was just like, I've seen her do this character. So, but everyone else, they were fantastic, and it was a creepy, weird film.
Yeah, I don't know that I could watch it again. I mean, it's very, very heavy too.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right, Jason Christensen writes, "My question is about Godzilla. With it coming out between Spider-Man 2 and X-Men Days of Future Past, what are your thoughts of the underwhelming trailer? An underwhelming trailer, although I thought it was great, and still the bad taste that the 98 movie left with us. Can it do well at the box office? I guess based on those two things, the underwhelming trailer, at least some people thought that, and that it's coming off of that not so well received 97 movie by Roland Emmerich.
Yeah, but this isn't. Look, Man of Steel faced a little bit of an uphill fight because of the poorly received Superman Returns. But we're talking about a lot of difference.
Years.
Yeah, we're talking about a lot of difference in between the last. I don't think the last Godzilla movie is going to affect it too awfully badly because it was so long ago. Mm-hmm. The only reason I would have any worry, and once again, don't worry about this first trailer. The movie's still 4 months away. As we get closer, you're going to see better trailers. The problem that it's going to face, the only cause for any worry for how well Godzilla was going to do at the box office is Pacific Rim. Are some people going to feel like I've had my fill of giant monster movies? I'm good now. Are people going to think, the fact that Pacific Rim didn't blow up the box office like a lot of people thought it might and maybe even should have? Those are the causes for concern, but I think it'll be fine. I really do. I think Godzilla will be fine. You got a really solid cast in there. If they handle Godzilla right, and if he does, as you guys were alluding to, fight other monsters, and they do that well, and then show some of that stuff off in the trailers, I think it'll do fine. If I was the exec, only concerns are, once again, that Pacific Rim may have tired people out from giant monsters, and the fact that Pacific Rim didn't do as well as the box office as I'm sure the studio was hoping. Those are the only causes for concern.
I would call saying that Pacific Rim only heightened people's desire.
That's the hope.
That's my gut feeling is that like some
hope is that it heightened. Fear is that it satisfied them.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Pacific Rim, brand new IP, brand new property. It took a little bit of time for the word of mouth. Even those trailers, people got excited about it, but they got the taste for giant monsters being kick-ass in Pacific Rim. Everybody on the planet knows who Godzilla is. If they hit this out of the park, even close, and give us the fans of Godzilla that kind of movie we've been waiting for more than 15 years, like a really epic Godzilla monster movie, which is seemingly what they're going to be giving us. I can't wait.
I'm excited. I'm excited
and
for
also,
it. Yeah.
I would suggest, wait until you see that trailer, because, like, for me, I saw that trailer online on a screen this big. Like, I saw it on my phone, and then we talked about it, and these guys loved it, and I was like, it seemed like a bunch of clips from Earthquake cut together, because I saw it on my phone. Then I saw it, like, I think about a month later in the movie theater, as how you should see movie trailers, in the theater.
Yeah, on a big screen.
On a big screen with surround sound, and it just changed my mind. I was like, it was the same exact trailer that I watched on my phone with weird, like, tiny sound, with other things happening, cars driving by, and then you're immersed in the theater and you're watching this giant trailer, and it just completely had this different feeling, and a different effect.
Yeah,
on
something
me.
like a Pacific Rim or a Godzilla, where the creatures or the robots are so giant that you need to see them on giant screen to get that effect of what they are.
And even without them showing Godzilla in that trailer, just to see the small moments of the army jumping off and, like, seeing him with night vision, or just those little quick clips that we saw of his scales and things like that. Just the scale of it in a big theater, at least that's, for me, changed my mind to, like, look, if that's all they're showing me and that's the first trailer, I'm sure the second trailer, when it drops in like 2 months or 2.5 months, they'll show more. They're going to show Godzilla, and not like a little quick shot of him. I think we're going to
get more of a narrative too. I think for the next trailer.
Yeah,
and I think the IP property, the IP is so powerful that I think it can overcome it. Seriously, if Pacific Rim had been called Giant Transformers Battling Giant Monsters, people would have rushed to go see it because of people know Transformers. Right. But because it's called, first of all, Pacific Rim is a terrible name. Terrible name for that.
Awful name, yeah.
Like, it doesn't. I think it's a World War II movie. That's what I think.
Yeah, it took a long time for me to even, like, lock in with that title. I mean, I kept hearing it for many, many, many years. Like, when they were like, "Oh, that's one of his movies." What? Pacific Rim.
I was like,
he's making
Guillermo del Toro's making a World War II movie.
Yeah, and it just kept it even up until I was watching the trailers with that title. It was like, it's a cool trailer, weird title,
Yeah.
But,
I'm going to throw in a quick question here from the chat board on here. Michael Buxton was asking, question, do you think we'll ever see a Battle Los Angeles 2 with Aaron Eckhart and Michelle Rodriguez? Battle Los Angeles, we talked a few hours ago about disappointing movies. Man, the last few years, Battle Los Angeles has got to rank right up there for me amongst disappointing movies. That was a world-class wasn't that came out the same time as that other movie with all the blue lights? Made by just that little...
Skyline,
right.
That
by that visual effects
movie.
company.
Yeah.
But, that was a movie made by guys who never made movies. They're just visual effects guys who, from their garage studio... Right. Shot on location on one of the guy's actual apartments, shot it there. That movie, Skyline, came with a bunch of built-in excuses about why it could be bad, and you can sort of forgive it because it was made by these guys who did make movies and just did it for fun. Battle Los Angeles has a world-class cast, had a good director, huge production budget, and it sucked.
You guys didn't see the new Battle LA trailer? There's a new Battle LA trailer.
A new Battle LA trailer.
In the movie theaters right now.
It's
got Tom Cruise in it, but trailer fucking through and through.
And it's also got a little bit of Starship Troopers in there as well.
Yeah,
I didn't hate Battle Los Angeles, so
I didn't either.
I thought it was a bad alien invasion movie. I thought it was a bad
me.
war movie. I thought it was just bad.
I thought the trailers looked really cool. It was a little disappointing, but I didn't find it to be terrible. Plus, I watched Skyline before that.
And the answer to the question is no. There's not going to be a sequel to Battle Los Angeles.
But I would love to see a fan edit of Battle Los Angeles and Skyline cut together.
That would be fun.
That would actually be fun if someone wants to rock that. I would watch it if you put it on YouTube.
You know what? I think you just gave him the idea for Independence Day 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. I think there it is. All he's going to do is take Battle Los Angeles and Skyline, edit them together, and then dub in Will Smith, and there you go. Independence Day 3 and 4.
There you go.
Oh man, I thought Skyline was an awful, terrible movie.
Well, that's pretty bad.
It was awful.
Did you make it to
terrible.
the end where it's like, now I have the weird red ape brain?
Yeah.
What am I watching? Still frames of like this ape creature jumping. I'm like, what is happening? I felt like I was losing my mind.
But I'll say this. Yeah. the visual effects look good.
And it was more original than Battle Los Angeles. So that's what
It
I'm saying.
was kinda,
if
yeah.
someone edited that together and made like a bizarre Battle Skyline Los Angeles hybrid edit, I think you might have an amazing film. Or
And
not.
that people would watch for free on YouTube.
Yeah, I guarantee at least 1,000 people will watch it.
So once again, just want to remind you guys, the reason we're doing this 24-hour marathon is to raise money for the Philippines. And as some people mentioned to me on the chat board, we are reading the chat board, by the way. We have crossed $18,000. We are now at $18,014 that you guys have raised
Awesome.
for the people in the Philippines. Thank you so much, guys. This is nothing short of remarkable. Like I said, our original goal was 3,000. Then we hit 3,000 long before we even started the marathon, like a week or two ago. So we raised it to 6,000. I thought that would be a stretch, but we're now at $18,000. Thank you guys. Keep donating. Go to that link you see there, www.crowdrise.com/AMC Movie News Philippines, or look in the description of this video for the link that you can click. It'll take you there. Click the big red donate now button and donate. And you guys are, it's just, I'm floored.
And it's
I'm floored. I never thought we'd raise anywhere near this much money. I'm floored.
It's after midnight, so I'm opening it up. I'm going to do at least
yes.
5 drawings. Whoever pops in a $150 donation, write in, like on your donation, what the character is that you want me to draw. I will draw, pencil and ink an 11 by 8 drawing and send it to you. So please, your address and the character you want drawn, and I'll draw it tonight and then show it to you on the screen. I'll be here.
There you go, guys. If you got somebody
do 5, so
that you want Schnepp, $150 or more, starting now, moving forward, and he will just name your character. And once you click the Donate Now button, you have a spot, an option comes up to leave a comment. Right in there, say, hey, I donated enough, and say what character you want him to draw for you, and put in an address as well. Don't worry, well, that might be public. You know what?
Private message you?
Yeah, tweet me. Tweet to me, and we will figure out a way for you. You know what? Here's the thing. I will know who you are from your name. Email AMC Movie Talk. I want to bring up the lower third with the email address there. What you'll be able to do is email us at amcmovietalk@gmail.com, and in the subject line put Schnepp Picture. So once again, if you donate $150 or more, I'll be able to see you in the fundraiser page there that you donated that. Then email us at amcmovietalk@gmail.com and put in the subject line Schnepp Picture. And in that email, give us your mailing address, your name and mailing address and everything, and we'll get that picture sent out to you. So starting now, $150 or more, tell us the character you want Schnepp to draw for you, and he's going to do it. Thank you so much for doing that, by the way.
It'll be fun. But yeah, definitely say it now. Like the sooner you guys, I'm only going to do 5 of them. So if whoever wants to rock it first, donate and then punch in the name on the actual donation of the character you want me to draw. And if it's a superhero, what era? Like if it's Wolverine from the 80s, if it's like a movie version of Superman, whatever it is you want me to draw, I'll do it for you. So, but I'm going to draw tonight. So, and definitely try following me and Dennis. Dennis is at Think Hero. And I'm at John Schnepp on Twitter, so you can contact us as well. And definitely get John Campia on a Twitter and donate. $10 or more will really help out. And if you do 150 or more, I'll draw a special pencil and inked illustration for you tonight. And
you will autograph it too, right?
Oh, of course. I'll autograph it, and it'll go in the mail tomorrow. So,
all right, guys. With that being said, we're at 12:30 in the morning on Pacific Standard Time. We're going to take a short break. Once again, YouTube only allows us to live stream for a certain amount of time, so we're taking breaks every couple of hours. So give us about 15 minutes here, and we will start up the next live stream. You'll be able to find it on our YouTube page, youtube.com/AMC Theaters, or follow me on Twitter at John Campia, and I will tweet out. I've been tweeting out and putting on my Facebook page, you can see my Twitter there, the exact URL for where the next live stream starts. I can't believe we're at 12:30 in the morning. That's 3:30 in the morning on the East Coast, and we still already have over 1,000 people in the chat board here talking with us. You guys are you're troopers, guys.
Yeah.
You are troopers. So we're going to take a break for about 15 minutes or so. We will be right back. You guys have crossed $18,000 for this cost. Thank you so much. So hang in there with us. We'll be right back. We're seeing just a few minutes.
I'm actually not going to be back.
Oh yeah, Dennis is done.
All right, Dennis.
I'm gonna get home, get some rest because we're leaving for Vegas.
We're leaving for
tomorrow.
Vegas. All of us, the
For
whole
New
AMC
Media
Movie News
Expo,
crew.
And not just the party, guys. We're actually doing the New Media Expo, so we can
And we got
nominated.
nominated for IAW TV Award. You got nominated
Yep.
for Best Host. We got nominated for Best New Series. So I don't want to not get sleep so that because I'm driving tomorrow.
Because you're driving me.
Yes.
You're driving both of us.
Yes. So
We'll be
the
sleeping.
fate of
It's
the
like-
three of us.
We've got guys and girls cars. We got one car with Ashley, Amy Rose, and Aaron
Yes.
driving up. And Chris Lee's going to fly directly there from the East Coast and meet us there. And we got the boys' car driving up.
Yeah.
So should be fun.
So while you guys are sleeping, I'll be driving.
Yep.
All right, guys. We'll see you back in a few minutes. Thanks
All
for
right.
joining us.
Bye.